The smell of iron emanates from blood, and humanity has always tried to purge it. We have fought, we have created, and we have seen ourselves in our creation, a hazy mirror reflecting what we choose to ignore. In an iron face, we see the best and worst of mankind. The search for connection, the kindness, the grace, but also cold detachment, cruelty, and love distorted through metallic shine. For years we have dreamed of the final version of this mirror, the ultimate simulacrum of humanity. We have dreamed of robots. Universal Flaws of Robotics is a comics anthology collecting 19 stories all about automata. Our amazing team of creators have spun electric dreams of romance, adventure, horror, humor, and more. Dive in and discover that no two robots are built quite the same. Dive in and discover the universal flaws of robotics. It's happening, finally!
Huzzah!
Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Wright, Human Cartoonist Extraordinaire, and welcome to another Kickstarter launch party, this time for Universal Flaws of Robotics. We are going to do a quick introduction of everyone who's here. I've already said who I am, Ben Wright Human, he, him. And my favorite robot from fiction, I think I'll probably go with Data from Star Trek The Next Generation, because why not? Over to Angela.
You stole mine. So, Angela
We can
Boyle,
agree.
Yeah, so I was waffling between Data and Marvin, the paranoid android.
That's a very good answer.
Yeah.
Which version?
I don't know. Probably the book version, just for sake of books.
Yeah. All right. And Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris, and I couldn't choose my favorite, but has anybody ever read Magic Knight Ray Earth by Clamp? It's got a bunch of mecha in it, and there's so many big ones. I couldn't choose which one I liked best.
I mean, Clamp, I kind of wish Piper were here because she would be very happy to hear that one.
Oh yeah, Clamp is the best stuff of every genre, really.
All right, and Severin, let's go with, where is it? There we go. With you. You're muted. All right, let's give Severin a minute. While doing that, we will go ahead and go on to the main event then, just so we can buy him a little bit of time. The moment everyone's been waiting for. Yes, yes, I've done it all. We're live!
Yay!
All right, looks like Severin's having tech issues. Yep, we will hopefully get them back in momentarily. Yes, we are officially live on the internet. Extremely exciting. I think there's a lot of fanfare happening in the comments. We've got Rainer chiming in. Woot. New book, new book, new book. Kelsey also, new book. Kelsey's volunteering. Favorite is the Murderbot Diaries.
I'm an idiot.
Good answer.
That's my favorite. Yep.
Yep.
Good job, Kelsey.
My favorite is all the wonderful robot features in this anthology. Cop out. No, I'm kidding. That's a great answer. All right. Let me stop sharing so I can see everybody's pretty faces again. All right. Guys, those of us who are joining us who have seen our previous anthologies, you know what's up. You know how awesome the projects that we put out are. This one is the biggest project we've ever done. It's going to be we're very excited to be tackling this. There are 196 pages just of comics alone, not including any of the extra stuff, which is almost double what we had for What the Gnomes Know. We do have more than twice the stories. We're up to 19 stories. We've had a total of 24 creators involved, and it looks absolutely amazing. As the guy who also put together the book file, it looks great. I'm very excited for this one. And we are running it for a full month going until August 13th and trying to raise $9,000. Biggest project we've ever done. Very exciting. And part of the reason we're doing that, first off, we got to pay everybody. And we have a lot more people involved in this particular project. The other big thing is that we are taking this to one of the next big steps in comic making, where we are going, this is going to get a little technical, but we're going past doing digital printing, which is basically using basically the industrial version of what you'll see at Office Depot and stuff like that. Just the really big toner printers. And that's great for smaller runs and things like that. But when you get to the really big runs, when you have to make a lot of books, you actually go to printing presses or offset printing. And we are doing that for the first time. We've got enough of these that we're actually going to be, this is a big enough book that we're actually going to be doing that, because that helps us keep the cost down and lets us make a lot of books. So this is a huge step. We are incredibly excited for it. And I feel like I am talking too much. Angela, what do you know about what the story is that you did for Universal Flaws of Robotics?
So long ago. Mostly I remember I was in the throes of carpal tunnel. So I had to completely change my art style. But
that was with carpal tunnel?
Mm-hmm. I was drawing really, really loose. Just practicing not squeezing my because I clench so hard because I have a shaky hand. So I just need to lean into that. But the story was inspired by life events of people not being able to cope with change and killing all the blackberries on our property, and just life turned into science fiction, basically.
Sounds good. I do want to throw out there, apparently Severin has posted a message on our Discord that their system is having trouble reconnecting. So we'll see if we can get Severin back. If not, Severin, thank you for joining us, at least for part of it. And we will be doing an interview, I believe, later in the week with Severin. So keep an eye out on our pages for that. I'm also going to bring up a little bit of the art from Fruits of Delusion, which, let me tell you, I had no idea. I don't know if you'd mentioned it. I didn't know you were having hand problems, because this looks great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, like that's wild to me.
A fun experiment. So that's why I didn't do inks. It's just pencil and watercolor.
Oh,
it looks
gotcha.
Better with pencil, honestly.
Yeah. Pencil and watercolor is a great combo. I love that.
Yeah,
combo.
I mean, I know you do that as well. It is a fun combination. It's weird because I've gotten so used to ink, but
yeah,
I gotta loosen up.
It's funny because this image that I brought up doesn't actually show it, but you have also done a hybrid comic this time, as you've done in the previous ones. Here, I'll see if I can find a full page.
Yeah, which I just really like hybrid prose, comics, everything good.
Yeah, it is definitely. It's something that it's. After you did it in Less Than Secret, we've had someone in each of the previous books also do it, which I find fun.
Good.
Robert's story, Let Loose the Kraken, is the similar type of thing. But yeah, it's. I can't believe you did that with a carpal tunnel wrist, because it really did come out very well.
Yeah, I had a huge foam grip for my pencil and my brushes, so that
like what they give the kids in kindergarten.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. My occupational therapist gave it to me.
All right, this should be a good example. and share. Sorry, I'm doing 5 things at once, including keeping an eye on the Kickstarter to see what is happening with it. I'm also going to go.
These started from, I read Posey Simmons, and I love her work. Yeah, first page.
Yep. I do like, it is such a fun style to see, just hybrid of prose and text and comic art. I like it ever since the first one you did from Lesson Secret with the Elritrits, and you actually basically did a little murder mystery. I absolutely loved it.
I thought about doing it again, but I just could not get inspired for robot murder for some reason. Robot murder mystery, which is exactly the kind of thing I love. I don't know. That's why I started reading the Murderbot Diaries.
Yep. I do also have to do a shout out. We officially have our first pledge. And it's Haley, who also helped work on the book as an editor and as a with working on trying to get grant funding, which I'll probably talk about later in the stream. But yeah, thank you, Haley. You've officially kicked us off, and dang, did you kick us off? We're paying you, remember? No, absolutely. I'm so happy that people are backing this project and getting all the extra stuff. But yeah, it's officially off to the races. I'm going to also go ahead and say we're probably going to stream for an hour, maybe a little bit longer, things like that. I'm going to set an hopeful goal. I'd like to see if we can pass $1,000 before the end of this hour. That sounds crazy. We've done it on previous Kickstarters, so let's see if we can make it happen. Chris, let's talk a little bit about you. I feel like we've been neglecting you.
I can talk about my comic, which I also, like Angela, have sort of forgotten about because it was 6 months ago now. I totally don't remember what I named it. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Thank you.
I've been looking at all of them religiously.
Yeah, it was also actually Art Imitates Life. Sort of, we went in from looking at my own experience living in an area that's affected by climate change, and I wanted to talk about the future of that and what like an alternate version of that could be with robotics. And so I actually looked at firefighting. Where I'm from is a big logging industry all the way up north, and we have forest fires every year for the past 5 years, and we haven't had any yet. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. But they've already started pulling in firefighters from Mexico and Australia to come in and act as support because we don't have enough firefighters here. And so I was like, okay, well, eventually we're going to need more support than just humans. We're going to need additional on the ground robotics. And so I wanted to do something with that.
Have a clip here from it. This was one of my favorite things from your story, just this one image. I'm
normally traditionally very black and white as an artist. And I will tell you, you can tell in the fire because I inked it all and I was like, oh, wait, I have to color it too. But I left.
Honestly, that impresses me because I have such a hard time with spot blacks.
I love spot blacks. I actually had one of my teachers taught me something fantastic about 4 or 5 months ago. And he said, the way to make spot blacks work is you have to have an percentage of your page for every single page you do should be black. So if, for example, you average like 50% of your page being black, that's pretty high, maybe 30% of your page being black. You want to keep that really, really consistent with every single page, because then when you break the rule, you make it a really dark scene that's like 80% black, or you make a blinding white scene that's only 10% black. It looks really, really cool. And I thought that was the best advice ever.
Noted.
That is pretty cool. You mentioned school. You went to SCAD, right?
I'm still in school. Yeah. I was 19 when I did this comic. I'm wondering, I think I might be one of the younger ones on the project, actually.
Entirely possible. But yeah, I remembered seeing it because we had several people from SCAD who actually applied, which was exciting to me because in some ways that seems like the sister school to our program. Angela and I went to the Center for Cartoon Studies.
Oh, yeah. So where is that again?
Vermont.
Vermont. Okay. You know,
Yeah.
I hear the name and I was like, I don't know where it is. All of America's sort of a blur
Way
to
up
me.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. But back when I was applying to grad schools, I actually got into both CCS and SCAD. And one of the hardest decisions in my life was figuring out which one to go to. So I'm always interested when I talk to SCAD people.
Oh yeah, and I probably
Yeah.
know at least a few. I'm trying to remember who got me in contact with this anthology. It was it was one of my old editors. Was it AJ? Do you know Anya?
Not off the top of my head, I don't. I can tell you
Okay.
there are 2 other people, I think, from SCAD, if I'm remembering correctly, in the group.
Really?
I believe so. Let me double check. I was assuming that one of them had been the one that saw it and spread the word.
Entirely possible. We're all in the same
Yeah.
group chats, so it just sort of spreads.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, it's one of the things that also no one had mentioned that they were in SCAD. I found this out because I've had to do research on all of you because we're going to be interviewing some of you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we also were sending out press releases to everyone's schools and things like that, just because sometimes there are alumni newsletters and things like that where we can get the word out. So I had to find out
I can
where
send
people
it to
went.
my Discord. We have a big all comics Discord.
Yeah,
So
share that information. Share it everywhere
yeah,
you can.
absolutely.
Yeah, and they need to be seeing your stuff too. Yeah, so it's interesting because a lot of I feel like yours ended up is much more practical and tied into current real world crisis with the global warming and the fire situation. Angela, your story feels much more far future and kind of dark comedy.
Which,
Like,
that's my jam.
yeah. I mean, I also ended up making a very bleak and hopeless story, which is apparently becoming what I do for these anthologies.
Oh, geez. I mean, it's
Like,
how can you not anymore?
pretty much. Just because I'm not going to be getting interviewed because I'm going to be the one interviewing people, I'll go ahead and show a little bit from mine.
Gonna say that.
Yeah, I had fun with coming up with what I was going to do. Part of what's funny is the original name of it was going to be Bad Command or File Name, and I ran into the problem that people don't know what that means. Like, I didn't realize that was not something that everyone remembered because I'm old. And like, I remember using DOS prompts to run games and things like that. But yeah, my story is called Terminal Zero. It's basically a future world where humanity is pretty much everyone has transferred their consciousness into computer bodies. At this point, there's nobody organic left anymore. And the question becomes, is the next step just uploading everyone into a server and going completely digital and scrapping the bodies? And it's a little bit of a bleak story. I was personally thinking a lot about video games, actually. There's a problem in video games right now where so much of it now is moved to digital that there's a real concern that games could be lost forever. Because a lot of times there isn't a hard copy version of it. And if anything were to go wrong, or even simpler than that, if a game is removed from an online store, it might cease to exist effectively. So I was kind of playing off of that idea quite a bit. But yeah, that's a clip of just 3 of them. We have a total of 19 stories. And I was also pleased with how all over the place they were, because we have stuff that is horror. We have stuff that is comedy. We have romance, which I don't know if we actually have had romance stories before. If you count Rougarou, maybe. But yeah, no, there's a wide range. There are returning faces, but there's also a lot of new people like Chris. We're very excited to see where all of this is going. And actually, I just realized we should talk a little bit about what we're offering on this Kickstarter. I'm going to share the Kickstarter screen one more time.
Ooh, we're up to 3 backers.
I'd seen 2. Who's the 3? Oh, and we're at 306. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, everybody. I'll check names in a minute. So, Absolute basic, we get 0s and 1s, which is just thank you for backing. Ghost in the Machine, you can get a PDF copy of the book.
So good.
Nuts and Bolts gets you a physical copy. Currently, we are only doing paperbacks. Because of the expense of making this book, we're holding off on hardcovers, but there is a stretch goal for that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But as a thanks for helping us make this, we are also discounting the paperback edition. When we release this, we're expecting it to be close to $30, but because with this offset printing run, we're actually able to get it at a little bit of a discount. We are able to offer it on this Kickstarter for $25 instead. So now is definitely the time to back. I'm going to jump ahead just for a second because this is related to the paperback. We've got the early bot special.
Nice.
We talked about a few different versions. We ended up going with the version we've done before, which is a paperback and a poster of the Universal Flaws of Robotics. By the way, all these physical copies also get you a PDF edition. That's just thrown in on all of them. But $35, that gives you a discount of $5 on the book and $5 on the poster. And that only is going to run for the first week. So you're going to want to grab this before the end of next Sunday, because after that, not going to be available. Going back one.
It's going to be nice.
Yeah. We've got backwards compatible. We've got both a PDF edition and a paperback edition. These are basically a copy each of Universal Flaws of Robotics and our previous two anthologies, Less Than Secret and What the Gnomes Know, all in a convenient little pack. Paperback edition. And we've got a fun one here called the Toolbox. The Toolbox is basically, we've taken a bunch of the add-ons and have just included them in one package, so you don't have to individually select them. And we're also doing a little bit of a discount on the shipping just to make life a little bit easier. But what you're looking at with that, you'll get the PDF edition, the paperback edition. You'll get a copy of the poster. You'll get a T-shirt with this awesome art on there. That is also available as an add-on if you want to get it a la carte. We will have a bookmark pack and a robot sticker pack. And if you want more, you can buy extras if you so choose. And then we also have mass production paperback version, which is basically if you want to get a bunch of copies of the book, sometimes libraries want to do this or things like that, you'll be able to get 5 editions. It'll be at the $25 per unit. And we are also not charging shipping on the books. So those are the basics of what we're offering there. For add-ons, we have sticker packs like we had before. We're going to have bookmark packs. And we also will get in. One of the things that's fun is several of our artists, including Angela and I, are going to be doing commissions. So we'll be sharing that in just a little bit. Plus, there's a poster. There are the T-shirts that I mentioned before, and the T-shirts are going to look great. Like we've already been checking that out. We're up to 5 backers.
Wow.
Thank you, everybody. You are awesome. One thing I also wanted to bring up is I mentioned we're already talking stretch goals. So one thing I mentioned earlier that we have done in the past, we usually do both paperback and hardcover editions. It's so much more expensive for this particular one to do that. So we decided we're going to hold off on hardcover until we've got a little bit of seed money. And that is basically going to be the first stretch goal. We need to hit $12,000 in that one. Yes, that's a lot. Making books is expensive. And we also need to be paying people more as we get higher because we want to pay people more. You guys don't make enough money. Yeah, once we hit 12,000, we'll be able to unlock that. We also have a $15,000 tier that is going to add the behind the scenes sections that you've seen in our previous books. We actually are holding off on that until we hit that 15,000. Once that happens, all copies of the book will upgrade. We are also hoping to include some bells and whistles and things like that that will be attached to the books in lieu of doing a special edition. We're basically going to make the hardcover a better and better version, if possible, however possible. So that's where we'd really like to try to get. And of course, if we manage to pass 15,000, first off, holy crap. And second, we will start dropping additional stretch goals as we were able to figure out what else we can give you guys to keep you happy, because we like you guys. Yee, get back to the top. We're at 386. All right. So I'm going to also ask Angela if you could. We talked about this beforehand. You're doing commissions, and you're actually making little robot figures, right?
Yes.
I'm going to full screen you for a second.
Here is one. They're wee.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get him to focus, but there's little flowers on a nail. That's one of. I have 3 samples. Here's another one. Copper guy. His own little flowers. Sorry, they're so blurry. And depends on how you define a robot. This guy's more granite than metal, but that could be a robot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And my partner Abe and I went outside with all of these and a whole bunch of others, and we did a little photo shoot. So we've got a whole bunch of great photos of these 3.
I've actually set that up as the picture for the add-on. It ain't carbon, it's a robot. Also, Kelsey, I missed this before. Nothing can go wrong if all our cultural knowledge is stored and archived by corporations. You are correct.
We need to bring libraries back.
So with your commission, you're actually going to make custom versions of those based on requests, right?
Yeah, so you could pick one of those 3, or you could pick, give me some prompts, like I want a blue flower and a copper. Yeah, so.
And that's going to be, if I remember correctly, it's 125 for that particular commission for getting a custom robot. Like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. One of a kind custom robot. And for mine, because I am also doing commissions, anyone who has spent 5 minutes with me at all knows that I've done dance stuff, because I mention it incessantly. And it's one of my favorite things to draw fan art of and things like that. So I'm doing custom illustrations of dancing robots. Any of the Strong Bad fans in the audience getting happy about that? Okay. No? Too old a reference? Good to know. But yeah, if you want anything specific custom, I will absolutely do it. If you happen to know dance stuff and you're like, I want them to be doing samba, or I want them to be doing swing, or anything like that, I can do that. Or if you just like the idea of a picture of 2 robots dancing, I will draw that. And I will watercolor it, and you will get the original for $200. And we actually have a couple other commissions that we will be announcing on the Kickstarter soon. We just needed to get a few finalization things in about them. But once those come through, we will be adding them. And we might be adding a few more tiers throughout the whole thing, just as we get stuff together and get our act together.
I'm really looking forward to making some more robots.
Yeah.
They look like they should be put at the bottom of trees in those little fairy houses. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When we took the pictures, we went outside to our driveway and we're taking them like right behind flowers, and we had a very good time.
I liked that your description of it basically said something along the lines of mushrooms optional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything I do, mushrooms are always allowed.
Yeah. So, Chris, let's hear a little bit more from you. Is this the first project outside of SCAD that you're being published in?
No, definitely not. In fact, actually, I think I mentioned to the group chat, but one of my other Kickstarters just got funded with part of Level Ground Comics. So they did originate with SCAD students, but it's a Vanna-based comic group, so it's not necessarily within my school. And I think they surpassed their goal, I think, within the last 24 hours. So we just made it, but it went really, really well.
Nice.
I've absolutely been there. I hope we don't do that again, but any way we make the goal, we'll take it.
Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking, but as soon as the last 48 hours arrived, all of a sudden, Kickstarter is so great about promoting things, and we were on the first page of comics. It was everywhere. And Level Ground Comics has done so many other projects that Kickstarter gave them the stamp of approval right from the get-go.
Nice.
Yeah. That is one of the things that is funny about Kickstarter. I've played around with some of the others. Crowdfunder's actually pretty good. I'll give them credit, but no social media platform or marketing platform I've come across is as good for discovery as Kickstarter. They're kind of amazing.
It's even like they advertise to us specifically. Like I remember getting an ad via email from the last Level Ground Comics Kickstarter like a year ago, not knowing anything about them at that time, but they already knew. They were like, we know what you'd like. Lo and behold, I was in the next one. So
yeah. It's kind of annoying how good they are at it, because I just want to spend all of my money on different Kickstarters.
Oh yeah, my curse. I was like, oh, I'm supporting independent artists. You know, I'm helping small companies. I'm just losing money. I've spent so much money on it.
Yes. Yes.
It's also kind of amazing how supportive the comics community on Kickstarter is. Like, there are statistics for how many projects succeed on Kickstarter, and the number's low if you look at the entirety of Kickstarter. It's something like, I want to say 20% of projects on Kickstarter actually succeed. On just comic Kickstarters, it's something like 65% succeed.
Yeah.
It's the highest on the platform. It's really amazing. Yeah. It's one of those things that I mean, I'm sure there are a number of factors, but I think another thing is cartoonists like to support independent projects. Like,
it really is. We're just buying each other's stuff, really. It's sort of a closed circuit.
The same $20 getting passed around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I will say it is, it's also a factor that a lot of times you're buying something way cheaper. Like in many cases, Kickstarters for comics, you're buying a book that is not going to be an insane amount of money. If you're backing a board game, you can be paying a couple $100. If you're backing a lot of stuff, you can be paying a couple $100. Not always the case for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was looking at one of those big ones right now that they were advertising for board games. I think it was something about Planet of the Apes or something. And I think the highest backing was like over $1,000. I was shocked. Like, what are you buying in a board game that's worth over $1,000?
I mean, we've previously had giant tier items before. We've toned it down a little bit, but like, yeah, Angela actually during Lesson Secret offered a cryptid box, or no, a box of mystery or something like that. What was it?
It was a cabinet of curiosity.
That's what it is. Yeah. We didn't end up having any takers, but the idea was we have a super high ticket item just in case somebody gets it. And yeah, it was a fun idea. We didn't end up doing that this time just because, I mean, we kept it pretty reasonable. Like, what you get are books and comics and stuff related to books and comics. And then we had a
6-foot tall mech.
Yeah. And then we went a little bit ham once J.M. Hunter gave us that beautiful cover art that, you know, we've been going nuts for. Hold on. I want to pop us all down. So there you go. You can see the art back there. It was so cool. Like, as soon as that happened, we'd actually talked about, maybe we bring in another artist and we have variant covers and stuff like that. And we got this and we're like, no, we're not. This is too cool. This goes on everything. We actually saw that cover and we immediately went, well, we're making t-shirts now too. Because like, it's just a given. Yeah. Like, and I'm hopeful that a ton of people get the shirts because I think they're going to look great. I also basically saw that I'm like, well, every single person in this group's getting one because anytime they wear it, it's advertising the project. We're doing that. And so it's like extra free stuff for you guys.
I was going to ask about that actually because I really liked that shirt.
Oh, absolutely. We're definitely getting everybody the shirts. And that was also a little bit of fun because I had to research how you get shirts made because I hadn't done it before. But yeah, I've actually managed to get a local printer. We are going to be getting to do screen printing with it, which a lot of people in the group had been saying we have to do.
Great.
More excitement for that shirt. Very true. But yeah, like this project, it's been in the works for a while. I mentioned earlier, we're interested in getting grant funding originally for it. We actually have had the comics in for this for months now. But we'd applied for a grant to see if they'd be able to fund us instead of, or before we went to Kickstarter with it, just so we'd have a little bit more wiggle room. It'd be easier to do the bigger print run. and we'd be able to pay everybody more a lot easier, which is one of our huge priorities on this. We always do a sliding scale with our creators to hopefully be able to pay them more than we could initially. And unfortunately, the grant did fall through. But we basically decided we're doing this Kickstarter and may try for the grant again to get additional funding afterwards. But we'll need to be able to show them we were able to do a Kickstarter. So back it a lot.
Yes.
And that was also an interesting process. It's the first time I'd actually gone for a grant. Angela, have you done it? It seems like you probably would have done grants before.
No, but I took a grant writing one-day workshop. It sounds like a horrible process.
It's definitely a thing.
Yeah, it's just do what they say, don't question it, answer every question.
It's like filling out forms.
Yeah.
Where I work right now, we have to get forms in every weekend, and you can always tell who works in a place that uses forms. Because half the time it's like, oh, perfect, clear, concise. They've got everything down. They've read all the boxes. The other time they're missing literally the name on every single one. I don't know who this form belongs to.
Yeah.
I have people signing paperwork at one of my jobs, and you have to sign and date it. Good chance they won't date it. And I have to email them back and be like, hey, I need that date. Am I allowed to put this on for you?
All right. Just to give us a quick update, we've been live for about 30 minutes and we're already at $386. Great start. But we are still shooting to try and get 1,000 before the end of the stream. So go ahead, and if you haven't shared it on social media, please share the link everywhere. The link is going across the bottom of the screen and I'll pop it up big as well. We always grab a tiny URL for these because the Kickstarter URLs are way too long and they usually are a bunch of characters, and this is easier to remember. So anything you can do, I got rid of the wrong thing. Anything you can do to spread the word, we would really appreciate, because we just need to get this book made because it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be crazy and it's going to be great. Another thing I did want to bring up is that we will be having interviews with our creators. This is something we do every single time. Live stream interviews with as many of the creators as we are able to be fitting in. You will notice mostly new faces with this. We made the difficult decision because there's so many people in the group that we were going to be prioritizing people who have worked on What the Gnomes Know and this, and not on Less Than Secret, because I'm sorry, Angela, but
I'm all getting boring now.
It's not even that. It's just we've interviewed you twice, and there are so many people that haven't gotten interviewed, and we just got to get it in there. Yeah. But we will hopefully be doing group streams and things like that. But to get things started, we will be having individual interviews this Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be one of the earlier ones, but that is going to be with Colleen Frakes, who was the artist behind our story Self-Assessment. We will be having an interview on this coming Thursday with Severin, who unfortunately did have to drop out of the stream today. So you will get to hear more from Severin pretty soon. On Saturday, we will have Chris back and get an individual interview. I believe that's going to be with Kelsey handling that one, who you will get to see tomorrow. I'll need to get into tomorrow's stream. And then, let's see, Monday we are going to have Catalina Rufine. We're going to have, basically, we will be posting a full schedule of this. But in just the next week, we're going to have three individual interviews. We're going to have Colleen, Severin, and Chris. So definitely keep an eye out for that. It's going to be me doing some of the interviews, Kelsey D. Crawford doing some of the interviews, and J.M. Hunter doing some of the interviews. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
I just thinking about how I managed. I'm still thinking back to how I got into this project in the first place. And I know Kelsey is in, it was bothering me. Kelsey's in other group chats I'm in. So I'm wondering if maybe Kelsey knows somebody who I know. And that's how I ended up. That's just, my brain went that way. Continue on.
I mean, Kelsey definitely knows people from SCAD. So that honestly might be what it was. And Kelsey is very good about getting the word out to everything. Kelsey has been part of this project also since the beginning, and has, in fact, is our crowdfunding manager on a lot of these projects, and is very helpful and hands-on and very good at these types of interviews. So we're very excited that they're going to be helping us with that. JM was the artist who gave us that incredible art that you've seen. Does a lot of interviews along with the Columbus Cartoon Coalition. So we're all prepared for this kind of stuff. And we're going to be doing multiple interviews a week to try and get through as many people as possible. It's a gift.
You're a gift.
Yes. But yeah, this is going to be, I'm just excited for this project. Anytime we do a Kickstarter, we always go hard. We have a great time. And we're usually, I mean, it's been very successful so far. This is our third Kickstarter as CanonWrite, but I've done 2 Kickstarters prior to this on my own. I know Kelsey has done a ton. Angela, you did the Awesome Possum series. How many Kickstarters was that?
4. And then I haven't done it in years because I overdid it. I think the second 2 volumes were like less than a year apart. It's just too fast. Burnt myself out.
Yeah.
Someday I might go back and do another one. Especially every time we do one with you guys, I'm like, I kind of want to do another one. It's so fun.
The itch.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually really appreciated. Yeah, I really appreciated seeing you do like extra branding stuff. I came across the video you posted on Instagram with like the Robo voice.
Yeah, that's Substack. That's like a thing that Substack just does. You can make a post, select a paragraph, and you can either read it yourself or have it do the AI voice. It's like, it's so easy. I got to start doing it more often.
But yeah, I don't know. It's always fun seeing people pop into the chat excited about doing this stuff. Oh, Kelsey's resume just dropped in the chat as well. Off the top of my head, I've done 15 Kickstarters, 6 crowdfunders, and 2 short-run Ko-Fi campaigns. So I'm clearly new at this. Yeah, no, like the help of all the experienced people has been very helpful. Like back when Less Than Secret was put together back in 2020, Rainer and I had never actually organized an anthology before. Which is one of the reasons, like Angela, we invited you off the bat because we were like, you know what you're doing, and you will be able to tell us if we're stupid.
I've done 8 Kickstarters.
8 Kickstarters. But yeah, it's honestly one of the things that's gotten us to continue doing it is we basically put together a little Discord think tank with everyone that gets involved, and it's one of the more fun art communities I'm involved in. Like, I'm really excited every time anyone's posting anything in there.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'll steal if I do another Awesome Possum, for sure.
Discord in particular, or just?
Yeah.
That's
just, it's one of my top read Discord servers.
Yeah. It's one of those things where most of the times I've submitted to an anthology, I've just submitted stuff and then disappeared. Kelsey's being very nice. CanonWrite community is one of the best Discord communities around. Thank you. Hold on. There we go. But like one of the things whenever I've submitted to anthologies, most of the time it's like, okay, here's the deadline. You sent the story in. Great. We'll pay you, whatever. And that's it. Mm-hmm. And we were more like, well, we don't know everything we're doing. So let's bring in people and, talk about it and do it as a group and see if people can throw in extra stuff. And that's been happening. And it's been great. With each project we've done, it felt like everyone actually got involved and had a good time getting involved. And like, that's something I'm particularly grateful for. We had a funny example with that on this particular project. I can go ahead and try to share. So when we were working on the cover layout, so we'd gotten this great art from JM and we were trying to figure out what we wanted the final version of it to look like. And I was putting together one style that had sort of this image just centered at the bottom of the page, text at the top, very classic look, like kind of how we've done all our previous anthologies. And one of the other contributors, Sam, who I believe is getting interviewed next week, pitch just said, off the top of their head, they threw out a different layout and suggested it. And the group was a little split on which to go to. We ended up doing a poll for it, but people were excited enough that it's like, okay, for the paperbacks, this is the version of the cover we're doing. And it's such classic pulp and stuff like that. It's very exciting. And it will wrap around to the back. Like the JM's art is not being lost with this, because that was one of the big concerns we had. But it will wrap all the way around the spine. And if we do get hardcovers, it will be the centered look. We actually figured out there would be issues if we tried to do a hardcover and do this wraparound. So we are getting to hit both people's tastes, both groups' tastes. But it's just really cool that one of our contributors and one of our new contributors, not even like part of the old guard or anything like that, pitched this idea in the group chat, and people were like, actually, this is really good. So, Chris, give us stuff all the time. Your ideas are welcome.
Absolutely. Honestly, Discord is the best for communities, I found. I'm relatively new to it. I've only been using it for 2 years, and I have met so many people, so many connections. Even crazier was I went to a comics convention in my town about 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking around at every second table. I'm like, oh, I know you from Discord. You're my editor. I contributed with, like, we did a project together, and I never met any of them face to face, but I knew so many of the people there.
That's cool.
There's a great group in Columbus called the Columbus Cartoon Coalition. That one of the things that drove me crazy when I moved to Columbus back in 2017, there's a huge comics community out here, and nobody talked to each other. Like, it was really disparate. And like, it's not that people didn't want to socialize or anything like that. There just was nobody who'd really taken the reins and networked them and done anything like that. And then a couple years ago, I was at Space, the Small Press and Alternative Comic Expo. And someone came by. It's Sydney Kitt, who's the artist on one of the stories, 404 Love Not Found. And she came by and said, hey, there's this new group we're putting together. Check it out. And she basically just put together a Discord server with all these cartoonists based around Ohio. And it's become incredibly active. We show up at shows all the time. I'm on the executive board of it now. It's just an amazing thing. And like, opportunities are constantly getting posted. And all of it is because Discord was the platform we kind of needed. And it's bringing in a lot of younger creators. I'd say the average age in this group is under 30.
Hold on a second.
Okay, you're good.
Letting my dog.
But yeah. But yeah, it like Discord really has made a good way of creating a network for this kind of stuff and allowing you to organize your own like chat room, basically.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing is the comparisons to the old chat rooms I keep hearing from people. It's like, everyone remember that? Like,
yeah.
Everyone remember IRC?
Yeah.
I think that's older than me.
I think
it probably is.
Yeah.
That was mostly a joke for Angela. No, I heard someone reference AIM recently and felt old.
Yeah.
No, it's great that this is starting to happen, especially with, and this kind of ties in a little bit to what we're talking about with robots and stuff, the amount of AI and algorithms that's affecting finding anything else online. Like, Discord kind of gives you the option to choose your network instead of having your network forced on you. Which
honestly,
is just,
it really is. And I love how with the community, especially you said the age of it, though, I do appreciate, although we have a lot of, it's mostly young people, I was able to find groups like you guys who are established in the industry already. And I've just joined, there was another group I recently joined where there was opportunity for editors to come in, and it's always, they're like finding people to connect to already working cartoonists, which is my bread and butter. Like, I love that.
Yep. There is one thing I do want to bring up, because we brought up AI and algorithms, and in the chat, Rainer made a very good point. Despite the topic of this particular anthology, no AI was actually used in making this anthology. This is 100% human-made. And there are a number of reasons for this. Beyond the fact just that AI is a controversial topic, that's not really what we wanted to address with this particular anthology. We wanted to be able to tell stories about robots, AI, automata in the sci-fi sense more than anything. And also, a lot of cartoonists in this group are very concerned about the direction that AI is going, especially in relation to art. So, despite the fact that we are making a robot anthology, it does not feature AI in its creation.
Just on the pages.
Yes. Just on the page.
Like fictional heads.
Yes. Inside those
cool
heads.
AI, like Matrix.
The cool
Matrix is cool because it doesn't exist. That's the point of it. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
If it actually existed, we'd be like, oh, I don't want to be here. Don't want to be here. Actually, so funny. My father and I were watching The Matrix about a month ago, and then he ended up going to the hospital. They put him on these like really strong drugs, and then his drug-induced like pain-killing medication, he tells me about the dreams he was having where he was in the Matrix, but it was hell, and the nurses were forcing him to do yoga, and it was like the craziest experience. And it was all he was in the Matrix in these dreams.
Okay. Next robot anthology we do needs to involve robot nurses in hell making humans do yoga.
Yeah, it was hilarious, actually. He told me that what my next comic has to be, so I've got it all written down.
Kelsey throws out, I have a lot to say about AI and how corporations are using it to subvert paying artists and other laborers a living wage, but that's for a different video. Yes, it is, but also I get it. I also wanted to call it out just because Rainer mentions there's a reason why I heard robot and I went horror. Rainer did a really good horror story for this. I need to shout it out. Just because it made me so happy when I read through it. I'm like, okay, you're getting there. This is great. This is great. Oh man, I love all the stories in this project. It's very exciting. Yes, you're welcome. I should also throw out there, because Kelsey's been very active in the chat. Kelsey had some fun with it and went with fantasy robot, like plant and like Dungeons and Dragons style fantasy robot.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. Robot yoga is just articulated joints for vlog props and stuff. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
all those big giant dolls that you can just bend in half because they'll have the ball joints.
Yeah. Man, now I'm getting other robot stories in my head. Why is that always happening? Yeah. Now, one of the things that always cracks me up whenever we do one of these anthologies, all of a sudden, whatever the topic is everywhere in my life. Like when we did the cryptid one, all of a sudden I see Mothman hoodies everywhere. Which maybe I'm just noticing them because I live in Columbus. There's a lot of love for Mothman here. When we did the gnome one, that's when those little gnome dolls started popping up everywhere. Do you know the ones I'm talking about, where it's just the hat, the nose, and the beard? Mm-hmm. I just started finding them everywhere. Christmas
gnomes.
Yeah, and as I'm working on this robot anthology, I go to BJ's Wholesale, and there's a stocking robot, like going through and getting inventory.
I saw the coolest robot the other day. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up in a photo. I don't know if I can show this. I saw a robot lawnmower.
Yeah.
It looks like a giant remote-controlled car.
Hold on, I'm going to make you big.
There we go.
Oh, that's fun. It's basically an outdoor Roomba.
It really is.
Yeah, my uncle was talking about that.
First scene, and I'm like, yeah, that is.
Yeah. No. That's another topic that would have been really fun to do for a robot. Is just do something about Roombas.
The knife Roomba.
Yeah, knife Roomba. That's right. I have a soft spot in my heart for those because the worst present, the second worst present that my dad ever got my mom was a Roomba. The first worst present he got her was another Roomba.
Oh no.
It's okay. My grandfather got my grandmother an actual vacuum. So not only was it a vacuum, she had to do the work.
Yeah. No, that's just one of those things that it's my dad every year, just as a joke, whenever it's trying to figure out what to get mom for Christmas, he's like, oh, maybe another Roomba.
He doesn't just like have a bunch of Roomba boxes and then he wraps all of her gifts in those.
I don't think they're watching this video because they're actually out of the country. I'm going to email my dad and suggest that. See if we could get you some Roomba boxes.
Yeah. We call
straight to the manufacturer.
We have like a Roomba, not Roomba, but that kind, and we call it Ivan, which is idiotic vacuuming anal retentive ninny.
That's the other thing. You've got to come up with good acronyms if you're going to be doing stuff with robots.
Yeah. And he really is an idiot.
Yeah. Actually, fun little thing I want to bring up, just so I thought of it. The name of this project, Universal Flaws of Robotics, that actually came up from a brainstorming session, and credit goes to Piper Dell, one of the other artists in the group, who pitched that name. And it was funny because there was an immediate reaction as soon as that was heard, where we all go, that name's awesome. Look it up, see if it's taken. And amazingly, it wasn't. And we're like, nope. Like,
It's
we workshopped for a while, but it was just like, this name is too good.
There were a lot of good names, but that one took the
There
cake.
were. One of the things that I'm personally a little paranoid about when I'm putting this stuff together is I really want a name that if people Google it, they're more likely to get us than anybody else, which is tough because a lot of good names get chopped because of that.
Well, yeah.
And I have been accused of being a little bit too picky about this. But when you come across a name like this and you Google it and nothing comes up, that's really good.
Nuts.
I will throw out there, because it was one of my favorite backups, and unfortunately the name was just used a little bit too much online, but was the code Less Traveled.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, shout out to Haley, because Haley came up with that and we were like, that's a good name. But yeah, we're just very excited. We are actually coming up on the hour mark. I'm going to go ahead and say that if anyone in chat has questions, please let us know. Let's check in and see where we've gotten. Looks like we're right at about $511, which not quite hit the goal, but that's still a pretty good start.
If we just keep on talking forever, maybe we'll get there eventually. To $500 an hour.
That's usually how it works.
We hit 1,000.
Do a 24-hour stream. Let's go.
Yeah. Dang, 1 hour. I know. It goes through fast. Something I did also want to throw out. Obviously, on these launch party streams, we tend to have a lot of people. And there are so many people in this group that we've actually split it up a little bit. And also, life's busy, so it was a little tough getting a time when everybody could do stuff. But we are going to have a follow-up stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. That is going to have more people, so you don't just have to look at our adorable faces. But that will feature Kelsey D. Crawford, Alex Washburn, Rainer Cannonstein, and Eddie J. O'Neill, and Kaj GM Lukacs. I apologize, Kaj. I just realized I don't know how to say your last name. But all of them will also be featured. And potentially, I'll need to double check, but we might be getting Sam in there too. But yeah, it's going to be on the same channel, 7 o'clock Eastern time. And just get you introduced to a few more people, talking more about working on the project. I will also throw out there that on the YouTube channel that we're streaming to right now, you might be seeing us on Facebook or Twitch, but if you go to youtube.com/@CanonWrite, that's CanonWrite. Let me make a banner because people misspell this all the time. But basically, if you go here, there is a playlist set up for Universal Flaws of Robotics, and all videos that we do will automatically upload to that. So if you want to go through and see everything that we do, that's a good way to do it. Or you can also follow this channel, subscribe to it, because, it's the internet and we love getting subscriptions. And you'll be notified whenever we are going to be actually live, and you can participate in the chat and talk to your favorite creators and all of that cool stuff.
Is that you also have playlists for the previous 2 anthologies?
I actually don't know if we have the Lesson Secret playlist on there. We didn't create the CanonWrite channel until after that, but they should have the one for what the gnomes know. And you make a good point. I should probably make the less than secret one. So you know what? The answer is yes, soon. I just need to do it. But yeah, it's a great way to go through and see all the work that our incredible creators have been involved in. And the Less Than Secret streams are archived on Kelsey's channel, which I believe is youtube.com/@KelseyD. If that's incorrect, Kelsey, please let me know. But yeah, in the original Less Than Secret, Kelsey was basically our interviewer and handled the lion's share of everything. And now we've split it up because there's a lot of people to interview. But yeah. It is, in fact, at Kelsey D Comics. I apologize. Also, if you're doing it on YouTube, you do have to put the @ in the URL for some unknown reason. I don't know why they do that, but make sure you do it.
You want to be different.
It's true. But yeah, so we are just past the hour mark. So I'm going to go ahead and ask, where can people find you guys on the internet? If they can find you on the internet.
Right there. Angela B.
They definitely can.
It's almost as if I was prepared for this.
I know. It's also Angela B. Comics on Substack, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter.
Nice.
I got them all to match.
Yeah, it's one of the things I like about BWH Comics. I haven't had a problem yet.
Yeah. That's why I didn't do Angela Boyle, because there's like a billion Angela Boyles.
Yeah. And they're all British for some reason.
And they're all like either playing soccer or getting arrested for something horrible.
It reminds me of sort of like, I feel like there's an Office character from The Office that would have that name. I don't know if there is, but somebody would.
From the American one, there's the lady, the blonde lady is named Angela.
Yeah.
I don't know her last name.
All right. Chris, where can people find
you? Yeah, well, that's the easiest one because it has everything. Because I'm not all the same username for everything because I love Clamp so much. So lo and behold, when I was like 13, I was like, I'm gonna make my Instagram Mokona, which is an old one of the Clamp's original like 5 creators. That was their name, and nobody gets it. Nobody, not enough people know Clamp. So it's easier.
We've all got those.
Yeah, and then everything's on there, and I keep all the projects updated on there too. So I should put the Kickstarter in. I'll do that. I'm
just curious. Did you pick the service deliberately so it'd be your dance card?
No, nope. I mean, it's a great one, but no. Just
delightful.
That makes me. It's a great accident. I love that.
Yeah. No.
Yep.
Everybody gets my last name. One of my coworkers' last names is Soap. Feel bad for her. Less fun.
Yeah, no. As someone who has a last name that gets mispronounced a lot, I get it.
Yeah, trying to learn to spell your name was tough.
Yep, it throws a lot of people.
Is it Right Human?
That's it. Yeah, okay. Right Human. What's funny is when I moved to Columbus and had to get a new driver's license and went into the BMV. It's the BMV here for some reason, Bureau of Motor Vehicles. The person I talked to had never seen a hyphenated last name. Huh. Yeah, that's the face I made.
I feel like that's pretty common.
Yeah,
I know. Like now, here's the thing that was funny. The way that I was able to get help was another customer in the BMV who was Hispanic and had a last name and also had a hyphenated last name because that's a lot more common in Spanish language names.
I have friends who are
basically like came up and told me what I needed to do to get that added. But it was like a customer just happened to be there that could do that. It was wild. But yeah, it was, you can, while we're advertising people, you can find me at BWH Comics on Patreon, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I do regular game streaming every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That may be different during this Kickstarter because we are also going to be streaming this stuff. So highly recommend you keep an eye out for any information on our socials about that, because that will likely be changing over the next month. And then after that, we'll get completely back to normal. All right. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, and it looks like we are up to 594. So the question arises, we want to keep hanging out for a bit, just randomly talk about stuff and see what happens? Or do we want to go ahead and call it, and the next group has to get to 2,000?
Ooh, make it harder for them. But there's more
Make it
people,
harder
so
for
they can
them.
talk for longer.
Pretty much. And the good thing is Kelsey will be there, so there will be no problem with keeping the conversation going.
Yeah.
I say that as someone who also does the same thing. But all right, I think we should go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to the launch party. I'm so excited that this is finally happening. If anyone does, I know, Angela, you've seen this happen before, so I got to ask, do you have a sign-off prepared?
Stay curious.
Stay curious. Chris, do you have a sign-off?
Absolutely not.
Cool. Well, then I will see you guys when I see you, and definitely tune in for the stream tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And until next time, rock on, guys, and never stop drawing.
Thank you, guys.
Now just wave until it goes away.